Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for attending our Humanities and Social Sciences 7 to 10 webinar with Oxford University Press. My name is Adam. I'll be one of your co-presenters today, and I'm just going to take you through into our acknowledgement of country to start with. So I'd like to say that we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the many lands on which we meet today. We pay our respects to elders past and present. We also extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples here today. So first, I'm going to give you all just an overview of today's webinar. I'm about to introduce our lovely presenters, so you'll see their names in a bit of a sneak peek. But firstly, we'll have the secret Leo do a bit of a summary of the key changes to the curriculum for WA. We'll then introduce Padmini, who will talk through the challenges facing all of our schools. Myself and Annabelle will then take you through the new layout of the books, both print and digital. I'll then work through the pricing and options and availability, and then leave some time for questions at the end. So firstly, I will start by introducing our wonderful presenters. First of all, we have our resident pugilist and geography expert, Leo Conti. Most of you will have met or been taught by Leo or worked with him. Leo Conti is the geography consultant and author of Oxford Humanities first edition and now second edition. He's the head of humanities at Ballajura Community School, the former president of GAWA, and a senior lecturer at Notre Dame for HASS teaching methodology. Welcome, Leo. We also have Padmini Raja Snyder. She is our economics and business author for Humanities series. She's the Assistant Head of Humanities and Early Career Teacher Coordinator at PLC. Welcome, Padmini. And we also have the wonderful Annabelle Elliott. She is our history author of Oxford Humanities and a Senior School History Coordinator at Guildford Grammar School. Welcome, Annabelle. Alrighty, now I'll hand over back to Leo in the studio, who will go through part one.
Thank you, AJ, and good afternoon and welcome to everyone. Thank you very, very much for your time, your interest, and your commitment to the HASS course. As AJ said, there are 5 quick parts. One is the actual summary of changes, which I'll actually run through. Then we'll look at the challenges, apply a hands-on approach, and look at the textbook and actually unpack and have a look at some of the online resources, which I think you'll find very valuable. Look at formalities and availability of the textbook, and then if time allows, look and very much answer any questions that you may have. I suppose one of the very obvious points is, to provide a snapshot. Really, it would be amiss of me not to briefly explain why these changes have actually occurred, but more to the point, really for a classroom teacher, yet alone a head of department, how these changes have been embedded in the textbook series and the online resources. As people are aware, just to take us through a real quick timeline approach, 2020 we had this ministerial review of the Australian curriculum. Come 2022, version 9 was endorsed. In 2024, it actually went out for consultation to stakeholders. 2025, this year, in February, March, SCARS are finalised and released the changes, which we can see are very much available on the SCARS website under the area of familiarisation. It is now this point where we start to look at it ourselves, begin to forward plan so that in 2026, we actually have an implementation in the classroom. Based on very much on the feedback that was actually given to from classroom teachers, the changes really included a big focus on the actual reduction of content in the year 7 to 10, and that is in the HASS substrands, the geography, the history, the econs, and the civics. And what actually that has and the impacts it has on the classroom teacher, you'll see has been picked up within this Oxford series, as well as, and I emphasise this, as well as the online material. Further to that, each of the substrands now has 2 distinct units, and this has become more consistent so that the economics, the P&L have really much, and the depth studies of history have moved away so that we do have the units. Content descriptors have remained and are mandatory. So again, teachers must teach that. But what is very important is that we should be aware that examples that have been included in the scope and sequence, they're non-mandatory. And why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because it's something that I would definitely encourage teachers still to use, because it may help unpack and help engage students as much as the material being taught. But it is something that has been of the opinion to be included in the actual textbook series. So examples will be provided so that teachers do have that ability to use the book in many, or the online material in dimensions that suit their classes. An important point to be aware of as a classroom teacher personally, I think is important, is that wherever in the actual curriculum the word include has been mentioned, this means that it's part of the curriculum and therefore it needs to be taught. That has also been applied within the series so that we ensure that the curriculum material that has been and is to be implemented is also reflected in this new series. Content, you're aware, has been reorganized in an attempt to actually allow continuity and flow. And of course, concepts and skills have remained. So when we start to unpack material, what does it really mean? When we started to put together this writing and producing of the new series, the new textbook material, you'll start to hopefully see that when you get your hands in it, the book will actually speak out to you, and sections are very, very evident and reflective of changes. For instance, the reduction in the content, you'll see that in the textbook, the word chapter has now been replaced to actually reflect a module, which very, very much helps you not only plan, but it also gives you material which is directly linked to online resources. Hence, teachers can feel confident that content descriptors definitely reflect the knowledge and the skills required, because each double page spread is no longer a topic, but is viewed as a lesson. The benefits for this, of course, is that irrespective of your location, irrespective of your resource availability, whether you're in a remote area, a country area, or in a metro, the experience and expertise that can be used is very much one that can be applied to grads, teachers who are non-HASS, or, of course, experienced classroom practitioners. And therefore, your lessons, again, it's a topic, have been replaced with lessons. These double-page spread lessons make planning and embedding content very, very time efficient. It also instills a lot of confidence. And the confidence is in your very first year or two, we tend to actually teach everything that's out there. And then we also are sometimes concerned, are we missing material? Are we overemphasizing? The way that chapters, again, these modules have been designed is so that teachers feel that they are very user-friendly. They will engage students because of the activities and the review questions available. There's a lot of online support and web-based activities. And the best way to actually view this is actually to have a look at some of the sample material that will or has been provided. You'll notice around the edges of these lessons, or around the edges of these pages, there'll be icons, there'll be vocab sections, there'll be images, and these images and questions will range. And the beauty is that they've been designed so they range from low order to high order, and therefore it does support your classroom and allows you to begin to differentiate very much. There is supporting media clips without taking too much away from part 3, which unpacks, but you'll see that click view has become very, very much part of this stakeholder series. From a geographer's perspective, as we start to look at changes, it became quite evident that there was material that had been removed, or other material that has a different emphasis. And the obvious part is looking at water in the world, no longer a global focus, though it can be applied in parts, but it has a strong focus on Australia. Further to that, you'll see that in year 8, the content descriptor of processes to produce landforms and preparing or responding to geomorphic hazards has been removed. So not too much of a change, but there are subtle and obvious changes in this section of geography which have been applied and embedded in the Oxford series, along with an emphasis on West Australian case studies. We look at other areas such as the structured changes, which I mentioned earlier, and talking about the sub-strand units. It is an intentional action in this series so that teachers and departments, when they have time together, they can actually plan these units. What that does allow is assist with subject selection, timing. It'll allow with the actual unit being broken down so that you can embed, or I suppose with precision, place assessments at a time that suits you at your school. With history, you'll see with this history and knowledge and understanding, the year 7 and 9, and the next slide with year 10, the year 7 deep time history has also been totally created with an emphasis at looking not only at Australia but also West Australian elements. The year 9 Australian history, 1750 to 1914, a new unit. Again, these have been created so that teachers, whether they are graduates, whether they are non-HASS teachers who have been timetabled into HASS, or they are experienced teachers, can pick them up, work through the modules and the lessons in a manner that they know that the content is reflective of SCASA. Some of the reorganised material has also been embedded and adapted to, such as the Industrial Revolution, which we know was once in the year 9 section. Now it's been put into the year and absorbed by year 8 medieval. Along with the Black Death, we've included scientific advancements and of course the cultural advancements, along with intellectual revival, which are options that can be taught. The year 10, we will see that rights and freedoms has been refined. And that's a key point because it's been refined to highlight more of a focus on the Australian Torres Strait Islander people and one other group. We've included both, that being women or migrants. Point being is, again, it does avail itself to planning and picking up a lesson and running with it with engaging activities for your classes. With economics, and this will again be unpacked soon, with the economics section, whilst we state that examples are non-mandatory, it really became a deliberate approach by the team, and it was the opinion that sometimes it's better to provide the option for teachers rather than we or whoever it be from a curriculum perspective to actually make that decision where they cut out an option that could be used. So the WA perspective was to include a focus and case studies, and wherever possible, make them very, very relevant. By including these examples, again, which I state are non-mandatory, it does provide the opportunity for depth. It does provide you with a fair bit of confidence in saying there is material. I don't need to go and research too much further. I can use this as a starting point. The actual inclusion has and will promote this creativity, and it'll provide teachers with choice. And that is important because you know your classes better than anyone. The aim with the online supporting material will provide, hopefully it'll be very, very obvious that there will be a balance between what we see as mandated curriculum by SCASA through to holistic learning. And therefore, it, for me, and hopefully, again, you'll start to see that it provides that teachable moment. And that's the crucial part that is really important, because that's where you breathe real life into our HASS courses. The removal, for example, in the economics and business area of retirement income, the content's been reorganised, it's been updated, and that's an important point. Data, statistics, images, pictures have all been updated. There will be the focus on innovation and business, which once was in year 9, and the types of business, again, once in year 8, and work and finance has been restructured. Finally, because time will run against us, the civics and citizenship a strength, and it is a strength. The strength of the Oxford series, along with its online resources, is in its overall design. Lessons have been actually purposely designed so they are digestible. They've been worked so that you can work within a 55 to 120 minute period of time. That is very important because time is something that we become very time poor of. Content, with the removal of some content and the addition of the Oxford authors to provide detail from a teacher's perspective, has really, hopefully it will be seen, has really removed the need to look beyond. The textbook and its support material does provide a very firm foundation. Skills have all been included, have been validated from the point of view of being year level appropriate. You'll see many of the material included, the skills that are unpacked and also modeled within the textbook will be created in a manner where there is an example that students can then look at, and then you as a teacher can ask them to investigate further, applying those skills. WA case studies, whether they be local or an Australian national perspective or global issues, there is a good balance. And that's the key part. HASS very much looks at a holistic perspective. This textbook series will focus in areas on WA very well, from the southern to the northern and of course towards our eastern areas of our borders, but it'll include other state, global material, etc. Assessment and data was another area that we actually looked at. There's lots of balance here, which will provide teachers with the ability to streamline, and that will be unpacked by AJ. And finally, the last point being on our actual HASS skills. The toolbox feature has remained because the feedback given was that teachers like this, and therefore they actually found that this would help with some of the challenges, which really brings us into the next part where Padmini will pick up. Thank you very, very much, and have a very, very great year. So, well, good term, but a great year as we push forward implementing the 2026.
Thank you so much, Leo. What we're going to do now is we are going to have a look at part 2, which includes the challenges facing schools implementing the new curriculum. Now, I wonder if you can take a moment, please, in the Q&A section. What are some challenges that you think your department might be facing when we're implementing this new curriculum? Just take a moment and please put your thoughts into the Q&A chat. See that time's a bit of a problem. Yeah, definitely teaching the new information that we need to for history. It's a good one, getting teachers to let go of the old curriculum. I think that's what this textbook series does really well, because we have the new items. Yeah, definitely inexperienced to write new programs. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. I'm just going to move along now. So, Oxford, now, what do we think? Challenge number 1, as some of you have said, shortage of teachers, and also more importantly, we're all feeling we don't have time. How do we do this, right? So now, teacher shortages. Now, last year, the Federal Department of Education predicted shortages of around 4,100 teachers by 2025. In addition, about 20% of graduates leave the profession within the first 3 years. Almost 1/3 of teachers plan to leave before retirement. As you know, this could be due to heavy workloads, admin load, even student behavior. And also, we have many teachers in our departments teaching out of field. They don't have the necessary subject experience. Now, secondly, time, always one of the biggest challenges for any new teacher in particular. It's not unique to us humanities teachers, even though we know we love our subject. But the humanities curriculum is robust. We have a lot to cover. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we love it. Humanities is sometimes difficult to plan and mark. And also sometimes it's a lack of time to revisit the skills that we said we were going to cover at the start of the year. Now, which takes me to my second challenge of how do we teach the skills? Now, as you know, skills are just as important as content, but often they're more challenging to teach. Content may change from year to year, but skills and concepts, they are the through line of humanities subjects. So focusing on skills, especially in year 7 to 10, helps to future-proof our students and get them to pick our subjects in year 11 and 12. Now, challenge number 3, mixability classrooms. Our classrooms can often have a huge range of different students, large range of ability, and humanities in particular requires students to use literacy, numeracy, and graphing skills. And we also try to create opportunities for differentiation, and sometimes that takes time. Curriculum change. That's my challenge number 4. So curriculum change requires teachers to spend more time planning, adapting and sourcing. And as someone mentioned, how do we let go of the old curriculum? Now, new units mean teachers have to familiarize themselves with the content and plan how they will teach and assess it. If a unit moves between year levels, as you know, in WA, the Industrial Revolution has moved, teachers need to adapt how they will teach it for a different year level. Curriculum also needs to be managed in conjunction with any school-specific programs such as STEAM or STEM, project-based learning, and any cross-curricular learning. My challenge number 5 is teaching First Nations content, which is mandated in the curriculum. Each new version of curricula strengthens the teaching of First Nations histories and cultures through all our 4 subjects: geography, history, economics and business, and not forgetting civics and citizenship. Now, our First Nations content is reviewed by First Nations reviewers. Oxford First Nations Advisory Board is something that we have. We're very, very pleased to talk to you about in a moment, and Adam will be talking to us later on. And lastly, challenge number 6, prioritizing humanities subjects. Now, teachers in humanities often feel that we get a raw deal in school. The value of studying humanities may not be understood by everyone. For example, critical thinking, problem solving, communicating, evaluating, and I think often STEM subjects are prioritized, often by parents as well as students and sometimes the school. Humanities degrees have become much more expensive as well, which may be a reason why parents and students are leaning towards studying STEM. Now, I'll now pass you on to Adam, who's going to walk us through the changes in our physical books.
Thank you, Padmini. That's fantastic. I appreciate that. All right. So myself and Annabelle now are going to go through some of the changes to both the physical books and the digital versions of the books. So the first thing we'll do is we'll actually go through the physical books themselves and some of the changes to the layout, and then we'll talk through. I'll give you a bit of a digital walkthrough of our brand new digital platform, which we're very excited to show you. So just firstly, I'll just talk through some of the goals of our content team and the business as a whole when writing the new Humanities series. First thing, obviously, the most important thing is actually providing a teaching and learning resource that's written by WA teachers, WA authors for WA teachers and for WA schools. There's a new curriculum. We need to make sure we are aligning to and providing content to support that. And that is number 1. Number 2, differentiation and supporting teachers to deliver that differentiated content is something that we have always been working hard to achieve, and that's no different to what we're doing with our brand new series. So making sure that we have some differentiation support for all teachers and students. And that leads us into some of the other features that we'll be introducing. So a lot of the feedback from schools and teachers was around brand new sort of video content, engaging content to support students that are maybe disengaged. And we're really pleased to announce that we've got a partnership now with ClickView, which most schools in WA currently have a subscription to. We've actually managed to bring together a partnership with ClickView that allows us to create bespoke videos that we will be introducing in the new series. So we're very, very excited about that. And lastly, innovative features like, AI. People are both very excited and also terrified of AI. And we're really excited to announce that we've got a brand new AI tool in our new books. We've named them Finch. As you can see, we've got the little bird there. That's our AI mascot. And we have to be bringing in new features like AI to help support teachers and in a safe environment, both teachers and students. We've also introduced things like live lesson mode, which is a lesson that you can do live in class and or remotely, and or interactive lesson plans. So we're really excited to talk through those things now. Padmini mentioned it before, but we're actually we're introducing a brand new Oxford First Nations Advisory Board. Having First Nations peoples of authority and First Nations people generally reviewing our content is not anything new to Oxford University Press. We've been doing it for 10, 15 years. But given the new focus on First Nations content in the curriculum, both the WA and the Australian curriculum, we really want to make sure we're expanding to address that need. So not only having First Nations people reviewing and advising, but also developing First Nations authors. That's a really important thing to us. So we already have a chairperson of the board, Emily Yates, who's been reviewing all of our content, and we're also planning to bring on the other members of the board by the end of this year. So we're very excited about that as well. And I mentioned before our partnership with ClickView. So we have two different types of ClickView videos. First of all, we have the key content videos, which you can see there. We're going to have 400 brand new key content videos. Our key content videos are 3 to 5 minutes. They are being created in collaboration with ClickView. They have created these for us based on the WA curriculum. So we have one for every lesson. We also will have supplementary ClickView videos, which already exist, that we have inserted within the book where they are relevant. So it just gives you that one-stop shop. You don't have to move outside of the platform to log into ClickView. Everything is there for you already. So we're really excited about that. We feel like that's not only addressing the need for engaging content, but also helping with differentiation as well. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly run through. So look, I don't expect you guys to be able to read this, but we actually have the table of contents for years 7, 8, 9, and 10 in draft format in the handout section. So I'll just quickly skip through these, but happy to hand over to Annabelle if she wanted to just comment on how this will be appropriate.
Thanks, Adam. Hello, good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you for joining us. This table of contents, and I should also say that if you look in the handouts tab, you'll see some sample materials that Oxford have provided for you, so you can kind of follow along at home a little bit. But you can see here on the table of contents that I know it's really small, but each module is like stepped out into the lessons, so it's really easy for your planning. So if you're going through your registration of units and that kind of thing at the end of the year, or you're starting your planning for next year, it's really easy to scope and sequence this out. You can really easily see how many weeks you might need to complete all these lessons, and because each lesson is designed to be delivered in that block, in that sort of 45-50 minute period, it's really easy to see how long you might need for that unit. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Annabelle. All righty. So I'll just move on quickly into some of the features of our new print books. To stay aligned with our previous editions, we've kept our colour coding, geography in the green, economics and business in that pinky red colour, history in blue, and civics and citizenship in the orange colour there. So we've kept that colour coordination moving along. Leo mentioned the toolkits, or he calls them toolboxes. We've kept the name toolkit, even though he would like us to change it to toolbox. So just to keep alignment. But so we've remained our toolbox, the toolkits. Now I'm calling it a toolbox. The toolkits have remained, and we've aligned them to the substrands. There's obviously the overviews there. And as Leo mentioned before, all of the lessons are laid out here in your chapter openers. I'm now just showing you a chapter opener or module opener of our history section. You can see there that we've outlined which substrand this addresses. Again, the module openers with a beautiful source in between, and we've kept our sections within our chapters or modules as there. So as you can see, align out with our previous editions. We have 8A, which is the big idea. Why were British colonies established in Australia and who was affected? 8B, 8C. So we've segmented similarly to our previous edition, so it's not too unfamiliar for you. All of the lessons are obviously linked to all of the curriculum descriptors within the curriculum. Annabelle, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Adam. So this is a really great example. I love this page. There's so much to talk about. So this is a really great example of the two-page spread lesson that Leo referenced. So you can really easily see here, and I did see there was a comment in the chat earlier about worries, concerns about literacy levels in schools. And this is a really, really good example of how Oxford can support that. Right away, you can see how engaging the spread is and how for a low literacy student, it's not too confronting in terms of asking them to read huge chunks of text, or it's not a whole page of text. And Adam will talk about it later, but there is also a reader. So students can highlight the text and it'll read it to them. So that's another really great example of how we can support that difference in the classroom in terms of literacy. So if you are worried about your low literacy groups, hopefully when Adam takes you through the online support, and that'll become a little more clear. But you can see already it's divided into the lesson. It's got the blue for history. Adam talked about the color as well. So we've got the blue tab down the side, and that's consistent throughout. So they're always going to know you turn to the blue pages for history. And you've got the lesson there and the title really closely aligned with the syllabus, of course, in WA. And the icons down the left-hand side there, just above the map, they all point towards digital resources, which Adam will talk to a bit later, but it just really clearly lays it out to you there, what is available to you on that page. And certainly something that we talked about as authors that was super great is the click view. No more YouTube, logging in, buffering, adverts, having to pre-watch the content in case it's questionable. It kind of helps with that inevitable delay while you're having to switch screens and set up, and then you lose the class. So it just keeps everything flowing. You've got supported worksheets and that sort of thing already made, aligned, good to go. So it's going to save you a lot of time. Really closely linked to the learning intentions and success criteria as well. You can see that on the left-hand side. So they're always available for you and the students to see. The numbered lessons, again, that helps with your sequencing and with your unit planning. You can see the really rich resources on there. There's mapping, graphing, all the skills here. There's source analysis as well. So there's a lot for students to engage with. If they're not readers, they're still able to successfully access a lot of this content. And then if we move on to the right-hand side of the page, we've got the glossary terms embedded now. So from listening to Adam in the previous few presentations, this is new to Oxford. It's not just a glossary list at the back of the chapter anymore. So again, you're not losing the students while they flick backwards and forwards between pages, and they're able to really clearly access that definition when they need it within the text. So that's a really great new addition to this new series. We can see the boxes as well. You can see the orange box and the blue box on the right-hand side. So the orange is your chance to put your skill into practice. And the blue is then the typical questioning that we're used to. And now the command words are all bolded this time. And again, I think it was Leo who chatted about differentiation. So you can see here the questions escalate or elevate, go through the blooms in terms of difficulty. So you're able to point your students to the level that they're at, and then extend those other students through the taxonomy to the end with the slightly more deeper thinking questions towards the end of those. I think that's probably it for me on that page, unless I've forgotten anything, Adam. I love this page spread. I get really excited about it. I talk a lot about this one. So Moving on to another example of this, a geography one this time. So you can see the green tab down the side there to denote geography. And you can see really clearly the boxes kind of chunked out for the students. This is an example of a case study and some opportunities to put that skill into practice. So you can see the rich variety of sources like Leo noted earlier. There is obviously a emphasis on using WA examples wherever we can. HASS is not a WA specific subject, though there are global examples that you need to bring in order to provide that really rich, like, global perspective on some things. So yes, there will be still some global examples, but generally speaking, where we are able to use WA, we have. And again, you can see on the right-hand side there, we've got our scaffolded questions, our key concepts and key skills boxes, and those command verbs again highlighted through those questions. Adam, I haven't forgotten anything. It's still good.
Perfect. You're doing very well.
Last one for me, I think, almost. Just another example here of how Oxford has sort of produced something that enables students to then practice what they've learned and practice those skills, and really scaffolded out. I can't, it's a bit too small on my screen, but I assume your screens are bigger. And again, this is in the sample materials as well. But if you look at the questions, they're actually on the right hand side, they're actually all scaffolded out for the students. It's instructions essentially to guide them through the task and to guide them towards that successful outcome. And it also gives them a little bit of agency in terms of what they're choosing as well. So it gives them some options, it gives them some examples. So you can see how any student really will be able to find something to achieve success within these pages. Last one here from me for a while is the module reviews. So this is something that's remains, I suppose, and it really, again, just gives you and the students the opportunities to check their learning. These are, I think Adam will talk about this a bit more, but there are some self-marked quizzes in the online textbook, which you can see the links to at the bottom of the page there to the digital resources. And there are some that you get students to type in and you go in and mark yourself. But it's a really great touchstone for you to see maybe where you might need to go over a bit more material in your review. But Adam will talk about those online features a little bit more. I think that's it for me, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
Back to Adam. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. I think it might have been Leo, maybe Annabelle, or could have been Pabini, talk through STEAM. We've actually have a new approach to STEAM now with our new series. We used to provide things like STEAM projects in PDFs, standalone. We've now tried to put some sort of consistency and alignment around our STEAM approach. So now we have for every year level book, whether it's science, whether it's humanities, we have the same 2 STEAM projects in both our HASS and our science book to encourage that cross-curriculum cooperation. So we have one project-based STEAM project and one problem-based STEAM project in each year level. So the 2 same projects in year 7, you go up to year 8, there'll be 2 new projects. Year 9, 2 new projects. Year 10, 2 new projects. But essentially the year levels are aligned so that if your school uses both our HASS and our science, you have the same STEAM projects. And that was done intentionally. You can see we've got the real-world problems here with all of the state-specific curriculum links for each subject. And more importantly, instead of just throwing a bunch of PDFs at you, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, we actually have a whole heap of teaching support so that you actually have guidebooks, you've got interactives, you've got assessments, and you've got teaching notes on how to actually implement these with your students. So we're trying to give it a bit more of a structured and supported approach to STEAM because we know it can be difficult trying to embed this within schools. But we think it's really important to try and support teachers in doing that. Right. So what I'll do now very quickly is
Can I jump in, Adam?
Yeah,
quickly,
please do. Sorry, absolutely.
I just wanted to quickly comment on the STEAM. I know Leo has thoughts on this as well. So Leo, I hope I do you justice. But The STEAM is amazing. I think it really gives HASS an opportunity to stand like with maths and science in these really like cool projects that they always get to do. And so it steps it out. It provides you with everything. And in the equivalent science book, there is the same project. So students are able to go into their science class and see exactly the same things in their textbook for the STEAM project as they're seeing in their history, in their HASS. So sorry, in their HASS. So it's a really great opportunity for faculties to get together. And if you've thought about doing it, but you don't know where to start, it like Adam says, it steps it out for you. It gives you all the PDFs and all the handouts you need. Literally all you need to do is just email the science teacher and say, hey, let's do this, because they're looking at the same thing that you are. And it just gives us an opportunity to put HASS to the fore as a part of all of this, and just to remind people that we exist and we're important too. So Leo, is that all right? Yeah. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. All righty. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. And I will take you through a digital walkthrough of our brand new platform. So current users of our resources will recognize this screen. This is our Oxford Digital, I guess, bookshelf or library. I'm going to jump into our sample, which you have a link in the handouts to access and put into your own account. If you're having any trouble, you can contact me and I can help you. Okay, so first thing I will just talk about, to any people that currently use our resources, this is going to look completely brand new to you. And that's because it is. The platform you currently use on our Oxford Humanities first edition is our OBook 4 platform. This is now our Oxford Digital platform, which is, I think, 2 to 3 iterations since that one. So our first edition came out 10 years ago. A lot has happened, which we're very excited about. So as you can see here, we've taken more of a digital first approach to our digital platform. It's no longer just pictures of the books. It is actual fully interactive, reflowable HTML platform. So I'll just quickly run through the different tabs over here. So the first thing you'll see is our course tab. This is the way we actually enter into the content of the book. At the moment, we only have chapter or module 7, which is on ancient Egypt. Once these samples are updated to the full book, you'll have all of the chapters or modules there for you to look at, with the drop downs, which actually show you all the lessons there within the book itself as well. The resources tab is where you'll find, and this will be sort of somewhat familiar to you, this is where you'll find all of the different supporting assets or supporting resources for you through the whole book. You can actually go through lesson by lesson, which shows you, similar to what you're used to with the dashboard view, all of the lesson 7.2 supporting assets, or you can look at it from a full book point of view and see everything that you need there. That's the resources tab. And from this resources tab, you can do things like favorite your specific resources. You can embed them by copying the link, embed them into your LMS system, and you can assign them to your students as well. The assign work tab. So one of the, really exciting parts of having a new platform is that all of our assignments within the resource can be assigned to and tracked. That was something that was a bit of a weakness of the previous edition. So we're really excited to say our assignment center allows you to assign resources and track progress of your students. So as you can see here at 5:05 p.m. on the 12th of the 6th, I assigned the enlarged map and the key content video to students Adrian, Eli, David, Freya, Bianca, and Chloe. You can also see here that all 6 of these students, they are dummy accounts, i.e. they do not exist, hence why they have not completed the work. They have all got the dotted line around them. All of those are incomplete. Once Chloe completes her assignment, it'll be shaded in that greeny color there as complete. So it gives you an opportunity to actually go in there and see how our students are tracking from a completion point of view, and any notes that you may have left them. Our reporting feature is the next one up, which is really exciting for us because we have the ability to now answer all of our check your learning questions and auto marking quizzes, which feed into a reporting function. You can see here, if I go back here, you can see that for module 7 or chapter 7, the class average for all completed assessments is 71%. So doing okay there. You can also see which students, their average results for their chapter are there as well. I can then drill further down into each in-module assessment and do some analysis from this point of view. Some of the features here you can see is the ability to each module, I'll be able to scroll across, look at all the different module assessments. I can see here that the sequencing module assessment is has been completed by all of my students. You can also see which students are succeeding, which students are below, and which students are at level. So if I look at here on the little 3 boxes, I can show how my students have been grouped. I can see here that based on the assessment answers, success, you can see that Freya, Chloe, David, and Eli have answered above level. You can see that Adrian is answering at an at level level, and Bianca is just below, so we need to do some work with Bianca. You can also compare some responses here. So for all of the different assessments completed by students, you can then do some more deeper analysis to see, okay, everyone's getting mainly questions 1 right. Most students are getting question 3 wrong. Let's have a look at that question. We can see that we might need to work on this one here with our students. So there's some more analysis that can happen from that point of view. One of the other features we have within our premium level of access is what we call our curriculum report. So I'll just very quickly touch on that now. The curriculum report, this one takes a little bit of a while to load because it's a newer feature, but essentially we have taken all of the questions throughout the whole book, all of the quizzes, all of the check your learning answers. We've mapped them back to the curriculum descriptors, okay? And we've actually graded them. So once students actually answer and complete assessments, this tool will then allow you to see where within the certain curriculum points and descriptors, the student's competence level lies. So once I click into the ancient world, you see here now that time frame and location of the ancient civilization. I can see that Freya is answering questions at an 80% level. She's answered 4 of the 5 questions correct and 1 incorrectly. So you can see 80% from I guess you can do that analysis from a competence point of view. So that's a feature that we obviously have for all of the different subject areas and curriculum. And that's really exciting. The last thing is our AI control. So we talked about Finch before. This just allows teachers in our premium level of access to turn off and turn on. I mean, this isn't working currently because it's a sample, but you can turn on and off at different sample chapters, at different chapters, the AI tool. If some students do it really well and not, you can actually do that here. So what I'll do now really quickly is I will actually, whoopsie daisy, I will go into the actual book itself to show you what that looks like. So first thing I'll do is go into module 7, which is ancient Egypt. And you'll see here straight away, this layout looks completely different to what you're used to. So I'll click through to the next. The first thing you'll see here is we have 2 different navigation styles, slide and single page. And this will make sense once I get into the actual content. So at the moment, I'm in the module 7 opener, which gives you an overview of the ancient world here. You can see the substrand is ancient world, but we're on module 7, which is ancient Egypt. You can see here that there is an outline of all the different sections and lessons within the sections here. So it's just giving you a bit of an overview. Once I click through to the actual content, lesson 7.1, you'll see here ancient Egypt, a timeline. I'm just going to go into lesson 7.2 because that's where I've got a lot of the exciting features. So you can see here now I'm in lesson 7.2, which is physical features of ancient Egypt. There are 3 options for me to start with. There is my slide view, okay, which allows me to navigate through the content in more of a chunked view. A lot of the teachers are telling us that they use PowerPoint presentations when delivering lessons. So we wanted to keep that, I guess, format for our books, but also allow you the opportunity to, if you wanted to, cycle through this flowable HTML content by just scrolling all the way down. You'll see here that we used to have everything spread based. We've kept the feature of not having any text sources, images, maps spill out across 2 pages. They're still here and in one sort of spread, but you can scroll down and it makes it more accessible for you. If I was coming to this lesson as a teacher and I actually wanted to look at my lesson plan, I'll see here. I have a lesson plan which actually shows me all of the different assets I have to support the teaching of this. I have 2 answers here. I have 2 interactives, 2 videos, 1 worksheet, and 1 interactive assessment. I have a drop-down box that shows me the lesson overview, the learning intentions, and success criteria here. I have all of the curriculum links, any planning support, so things that I know. Again, I think it might have been Padme talking about teacher shortages, people teaching outside of their specialty area. If you have teachers that are not humanities teachers, this gives them some really good support when starting their lesson. And we have the 3 different activities here. So we've got a starter activity, we have a classroom activity, and we have another classroom activity here. So just suggestions for teachers. But this lesson plan is, I guess, your first port of call. We have another feature within this section, which actually is what's called our live lesson. So live lessons where you can actually invite students. So I'll just quickly demonstrate that here. I'm a teacher. I'm about to start my live lesson. I'm going to choose my class. I can send them an invitation to join me in this live lesson. If I have some students at home and or I'm just wanting to engage everyone in one lesson here, I'll start my live lesson. I can then have, or I can see here that who's joined and who hasn't. I can go to my live lesson, do a roll call at any time just to see who is and who is not in the class. I can now start my live lesson. So you can see here my activities are there. I didn't get rid of those. They're still there. I'm going through my learning intentions here. If I'm wanting to increase the font size, I can do that by clicking here to make it a bit bigger. If you're a bit blind like me, I like to have it nice and big. And as we're going through here, we're seeing here that all of this information is in that chunked sort of spread-based view. I can see here, I can open up key terms here within the book. I can see the definitions and just work through that. You've also got all of the digital assets here. If I'm wanting to open one of the key content videos that we've created with ClickView here, just while we're talking about this, I've seen some questions in the chat. You do not need a ClickView subscription to access our key content videos. You will need it to access the ClickView only videos though. So I'll just quickly play this for just 10 seconds just so you can see what the quality is like. I'm not sure if we can even get sound here. You can speed up if you're like me and you want it to go quicker. You can speed it up. You can open it up to so it's a bit taller. But they're all really high quality videos and they're all specific to the WA curriculum. So we're really excited about that as well. Once you get to the end of your specific section, you can see here that all of our check your learning questions that you're used to seeing in a downloadable PDF is actually in now a online version. So all of our check your learning questions can be answered by students digitally. And this all feeds into the reporting function that we spoke about before. So I'll just quickly show you what these look like. All of the check your learning questions are free text, okay, which you will all be familiar with. So these do need to be marked, okay, all free text. So just write your answers in there, go through. You can save those as a student. You can also see how long the students have actually been going through this stuff. Once they get to the end, they will click review and finish, submit that. It then needs to be marked by a teacher.
Adam, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Please do.
Could you just check the window that you're sharing? Because I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but I'm still seeing lesson 7.2 physical features. Is that the same for Padman and Leo? Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you very much. I'll just quickly take you through the content now because that wasn't working. I do apologize. So I'll just go through here now. I mentioned before the check your learning section. So I spoke before about the different ways to navigate. Okay, the slides are here in slide format. Again, I can click on a certain key term, open that up, and I'll find here that there will be sections with key terms definitions there. Could you see the video before, Annabelle?
No, and the quiz either. So yeah,
okay, all right.
Yeah,
let me just play this. Can everyone see that? You can see the video?
Yes. Yeah.
Great, fantastic. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So you can see here the videos. You can speed them up if you like. Make them a bit quicker. You can, apologies, I just got rid of that. You can also expand it to make it larger, and all of those sorts of things that you used to be able to do. So that's very, very exciting. Like I said before, the Check Your Learning questions can all be answered now online. So no need to have everything writing things in their book. They can, they're all free text, the Check Your Learning questions, so they do need to be marked by a teacher, but you do have the ability to answer these questions, mark them, and they will all feed through into the reporting function at the end. So each question is here. I'll just go to question 11 just for demonstration purposes. We can review that. We'll make sure we're happy. We finish that, and the teacher will then be able to mark our work. One of the really exciting features is also the ability to, within the Check Your Learning section, we have our AI Finch. So you can see here the AI icon. Once I click on the AI tutor, it will bring up my supporting function over here. So one of the good things about our new AI feature is that it doesn't go out into the World Wide Web. It's only searching for and providing resources from within the Oxford database. So it's safe. You know that it's all approved and everything is good for you to start working. So this is a differentiation tool as well. It has 3 prompts: help me get started, explain, and simplify. The students can start with help me get started. Finch will then respond with some prompts and some answers. If that's not good enough to help, we can then simplify the question. And then once that goes through, we can then explain that question. It will then obviously point you to some other resources within the book, like the related content below, key content videos, and click the videos there. And I'll even give you some words of encouragement. So those will be throughout the whole resource there. We also have worksheets in the end. And one of the other features that Annabelle spoke about before was the ability to have the read aloud function work for our students as well. So the read to me allows you as a teacher or a student to access a read to me function. So that will start reading the content to you. You can then highlight certain sections, as Annabelle spoke about before, and have the read to me read out the sections that you've highlighted. So you can have it in a female voice or a male voice, and that just allows for better accessibility for students. So just in the interest of time, I know that was very quick. I really, really love for you, any of the teachers, to contact us and or download the link within the handout section where you can actually have access to this sample for yourself. If you're having trouble, please just contact me and I can help you with that. But we're very, very excited about giving you access to this as well. Alrighty, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back to our presentation, and then we'll just walk through some of the challenges. So Padmini, apologies. I know that went pretty long because I wasn't presenting some of it. So thank you for telling me, Annabelle. But I thought you might want to just go through these sections here now very quickly if you like.
Okay, amazing. So thank you, Adam. Hopefully the new features are exciting and it's also got you thinking about how we can solve some of these challenges. So number one, coming back to that, teacher shortages and lack of time. We have super detailed lesson plans and module plans. And I think what's really exciting is that you don't have to create your own PowerPoints. As Adam showed us, you can actually present some of these in, actually all of them in PowerPoint mode. So that's really, really exciting. The enhanced assignment section, monitoring, reporting functions, this is all entirely new as well. So that's amazing. The second one is the teaching of skills. So we have that specific toolbox that you can look out for in each of these lessons, and the skills are woven through the entire series. Okay, in terms of our mixed ability classrooms, the click-through videos are there to help students access the content. We've got, you heard Adam say the read to me, that's going to be helpful for differentiation. I think the AI feature is quite exciting as well because it helps students simplify some of the questions. The short auto-marked quizzes are there as well for us. And not forgetting that we also have the differentiation worksheets that we had in the old series, but we've got that here again that you can give out to various different types of students in the classroom. Now, curriculum change, it's pretty much a complete resource package. It's provided to us. It's got everything: the curriculum, assignment tracking. There's no need for any other supplements. And obviously, you've heard about the cross-discipline STEAM projects that Annabelle and Adam mentioned. Now, the last two challenges, teaching First Nations content. I know the deep time is interesting, it's scary, but we've got it covered. Our content is reviewed by our First Nations reviewers. And lastly, kids should be picking humanities. I know I teach it because I love it, and I'm hoping that the kids love it too. So our key content videos are there, they're engaging. The Oxford resource, honestly, it's easy to use, print and digital. Each subject has been covered separately, and STEAM projects, not just STEM, and humanities is important. So I'll pass you on to Adam now.
Thank you, Padmini. Okay, I'll be super quick. I know everyone has to get off to cook dinner for the kids, etc., like myself. So I'll just talk through very quickly our purchasing options. So you may have heard me mention our premium level of access. We have two levels of access now. We have the premium level of access and the essential level of access, which you can see outlined here. The essential level of access is what comes with the print book. It has all of the features you're used to, all of the assessments, all of the teaching notes, all of the reporting, everything you're used to with the current resources. The premium features are what we spoke about before. The AI tutor, so Finch, is for premium. That advanced curriculum reporting. So the assessment reporting is still there, but for premium, you'll have that curriculum reporting there. The live lesson note, which you couldn't see. Thank you for telling me, Annabelle. That is within the premium features. And also the Oxford Integrated Dictionary. So highlighting any key terms, and it will give you the Oxford definition. So the print books are $69.95 for essential, $49.95 for digital on book lists. And for premium, it's just $10 more for each. I will mention if there are schools that purchase as an institution and wanted to purchase digital for their students, we do have the ability to give you institutional licenses that are at a discounted rate. So if you are a school that cannot book list, which is about 65% of schools in WA, and you're wanting to get digital access, please just contact myself and we can talk you through how we can facilitate that. The next thing up here is availability, very important. Okay, so all of our core content digitally will be available in August the 7th to 9th and September for Year 10 for you to start your planning, because we know how important that is. That started now. The print books, obviously we've had some, it's tough because we were only given a curriculum a little while ago. So the print books obviously have to come from our printers. So Year 7 and 8 are looking like November. Year 9 is December, and Year 10 is early January. It's looking like the 1st at the moment. We've already undertaken some strategies with our large resellers, Campion, Box of Books, all of the big ones. We are drop shipping resources to our resellers to speed up the process rather than going to our warehouse first and then having to be dispatched after that. All of the supporting digital resources will be available in December, so you can start linking all those through, which is all very exciting. You will have you see all the handouts there in the handout section. So please do go ahead and access those. And you have my details here as well as Linda. Now, questions. If anyone needs to jump off, you can. I'll just look at the priority questions here now. I answered Jackie about the ClickView videos. For the ClickView videos, like the supplementary ones, you do need a ClickView subscription. But for the key content videos, you can access them through Oxford, so that's fine. Maria.
Adam, can I jump in and answer that one? Actually,
please,
I've just been having a look. So actually, ancient Greece is still reflected in the curriculum. So because history's been broken into the two strands, deep time is like the first unit essentially, and then ancient societies is the second unit. So you can actually still teach ancient Greece. So you can choose Greece, Rome, and Egypt. So Maria, hopefully that helps you. You can absolutely still teach ancient Greece, given all of the really important things that you've mentioned there. It's not gone. It's just they've sort of moved investigating deep ancient time, or whatever it was called. What was it? Investigating the ancient past. And they've sort of combined that in with deep time. So a lot of the archaeology and the what is a source, what are our scientific methods, that's all incorporated into the deep time unit, obviously using a lot of Indigenous Australian history as examples of that. But then once you move on to your second half of term, your second 5 weeks, that's when you can do your ancient society. So you can absolutely still do Greece. Don't panic.
Thank you so much, Annabelle. Is the online lesson separate to the book, or that comes? So the online lesson, the live lesson comes with the premium access. So it comes either digital or print. Like when you buy the print book, you always get the digital book with it. So as long as you're buying the premium level, that's what you get access to the live lessons through that. Now, did the check your learning task still come to PS? As far as I understand, they will. I'll get that clarified. But as far as I'm aware, I'm fairly sure they do. But let me just get that clarified for you, Tara, and I'll get back to you. Can the staff have subscriptions? Okay, in terms of staff subscriptions, if you book list our books or buy 25 copies or more of a single ISBN, all teachers get access to the online teacher module. So that just comes as gratis. It can't be purchased. If you adopt, like if you want to use our books, all teachers will get access to that, absolutely, free of charge. Does Oxford do it in school? Absolutely. Yeah, I did one yesterday at All Saints. Spoke with Trish and Ben and their team, take it through as long as we do. I usually like to do a minimum of 2 training sessions with schools, one in sort of December, Jan, and one at the end of term 1. So I can, usually at the end of term 1, there's lots of questions. So we do obviously free PD and training. So very happy to do that for you. So yes. Is there a support resource package downloadable to use? Yes, a lot of the, fairly sure all of the worksheets and stuff are downloadable. Absolutely. Things like online quizzes obviously are not, because they're an online quiz, but all of those supporting resources, lesson plans, all of that stuff is downloadable. Absolutely. How much is teacher access is free if you are using the books. So if you are a school that only has 7 kids in year 7, we're not going to make you buy 25 copies. As long as you've got one for every student, you'll get full teacher access. That's fine. Is there any other questions? I can't see any. I could be wrong. And look, thank you, Padme. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Annabelle, for your wonderful presenting today. If you guys all have my details, please just reach out if you have any questions. Really happy to answer them. And I'm sure Leah, Annabelle, and Padme will be happy to answer questions if you see them around the traps. And we'll see you at Goa, I'm sure. Leah will make sure we're there.
Yeah, keep flying the flag high for HASS. That's all I can say.
That's right, absolutely. Thank you all. We appreciate it. And apologies for going 8 minutes over.